The text from my sister Kate arrived while I was in the middle of a confidential board meeting. Emergency family dinner tonight. Dad's furious about your LinkedIn. Says you're throwing your life away. Fair warning. They've prepared PowerPoints. 7 p.m. sharp. I glanced around the sleek conference room on the 60th floor of my company's headquarters, where 12 of the most influential tech executives in the world sat discussing our latest acquisition. If only my family knew that while they were crafting PowerPoints about job searching, I was orchestrating a $3.8 billion merger. "Everything okay, Ms. Anderson?" asked Marcus, my CFO, noticing my momentary distraction. "Just family drama," I replied, tucking my phone away. "Now, about the quantum computing division." 6 hours later, I pulled my deliberately modest Honda Civic into my parents' circular driveway, parking between Dad's Maserati and Mom's Mercedes. The house, a sprawling Georgian mansion in the most exclusive neighborhood in town, looked exactly as it had when I'd moved out 3 years ago to find myself, or as they saw it, throw away my Stanford MBA and promising consulting career. The housekeeper, Maria, opened the door before I could knock. "Miss Alexandra," she whispered. "They've been practicing their speeches all afternoon." I smoothed down my carefully chosen outfit, thrift store jeans, and a faded sweater that concealed its Brunello Cucinelli origins. The costume of a struggling entrepreneur, perfect for tonight's performance. The family was assembled in the formal dining room, Dad at the head of the table, his CEO posture in full effect. Mom to his right, a stack of papers before her. Kate and her husband Bradley on one side, my brother Peter and his wife Victoria on the other. The large TV on the wall was tuned to CNBC, Dad's constant companion. "Alexandra," Mom rose to kiss my cheek, her Cartier bracelets jingling. "You look comfortable." I took my assigned seat, the hot seat at the opposite end of the table from Dad. A projector screen had been set up behind him. This was going to be quite the production. "Let's get straight to the point," Dad began, his boardroom voice in full effect. "Your behavior has become concerning. This startup of yours, Quantum Solutions," I supplied helpfully, "has gone on long enough. 2 years of vague explanations about revolutionary technology and stealth mode development. Meanwhile, your peers are advancing in their careers." Kate jumped in right on cue. "Madison Thompson just made partner at McKinsey. And Christopher Lee is heading Goldman's Asia division," Peter added. Mom slid a folder across the table. "I've taken the liberty of compiling some opportunities. Harrison at Morgan Stanley specifically asked about you." I opened the folder, pretending to study the carefully curated job listings while actually checking the time on my watch. A prototype quantum-powered device worth more than this house. "The support stops now," Dad announced, clicking to his first PowerPoint slide. "No more rent assistance." "I pay my own rent," I interrupted. "In that tiny apartment in the Innovation District." "On what income?" Victoria scoffed. "We all know startups don't pay founders in the early stages. If they only knew that I owned the entire Innovation District through a series of shell companies, or that my tiny apartment was actually a cover for my real residence, the top 3 floors of the city's most exclusive building. Your trust fund will be frozen," Dad continued, "until you demonstrate financial responsibility by accepting a proper position." I bit back a smile. The trust fund he was threatening to freeze amounted to less than what my company earned in interest every hour. "Alexandra," Mom leaned forward, "we're worried about you. This isn't like you. Hiding your work, being secretive about your company." What exactly does quantum solutions even do? Before I could answer, the TV behind them caught my attention. The CNBC ticker changed, and a breaking news alert flashed across the screen. BUREKIAG. Wall Street Journal. TOREVAIDENTITY of mysterious QUANTUM SOLUTIONS My phone buzzed. Marcus texting. All systems go. Article dropping in 3, 2, 1. No more SUPP or Tonki until you get a real Joby, Dad announced firmly, just as Mom pushed the want ads closer to me. That's when every phone in the room lit up with the same news alert. The TV anchor's voice cut through the silence. Breaking news. The Wall Street Journal has just revealed the identity of Quantum Solutions founder, the secretive force behind what's being called the most revolutionary technology company since Apple. 28-year-old Alexandra Anderson. The room froze. 6 heads whipped toward the TV, where my professional headshot now filled the screen. Has built a quantum computing empire valued at $12.4 billion, making her the youngest self-made billionaire in history. Sources confirm major contracts with NASA, the Department of Defense, and leading tech giants. Mom's water glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the imported marble floor. Dad's PowerPoint clicker clattered onto the table. Kate's phone dropped into her soup. That's impossible, Peter stammered, frantically Googling on his phone. You work in a co-working space. You drive a Honda. I pulled out my actual phone, not the decoy I usually carry to family functions, as it began lighting up with messages from world leaders, tech CEOs, and journalists. Actually, I said, standing up, I own that co-working space, and the building it's in, and most of that neighborhood. The Honda is just practical. Why waste money on flashy cars when you can invest in quantum technology? 12 billion. Bradley whispered, his face pale. 0.4, I corrected. Though that valuation is from last week, it's likely higher now. Victoria, who had been furiously scrolling through news articles, looked up with shock. The Pentagon just confirmed a $5 billion contract. They're calling your quantum encryption the most significant breakthrough in national security history. Alexandra. Mom found her voice. Why didn't you tell us? I straightened my shabby sweater, which probably cost more than their monthly mortgage payment. You never asked. You were too busy telling me what I was doing wrong to notice what I was doing right. My phone buzzed again. The President's Chief of Staff requesting an urgent meeting about our latest defense capabilities. I need to take this, but before I go, I reached into my bag and pulled out 6 thick folders, dropping them on the table. These are non-disclosure agreements. If you want to know what Quantum Solutions actually does, you'll need to sign them. Standard procedure. NDAs? For family? Kate scoffed. Especially for family. I smiled. After all, Dad, isn't that what you always taught me about protecting valuable assets? The TV continued its coverage. Revolutionary quantum computing breakthroughs. Major implications for artificial intelligence, cryptography, and space exploration. The most successful stealth company in modern history. Oh, and Dad. I paused at the door. About freezing my trust fund. No need. I donated it to fund quantum research scholarships last year. All 12 million of it. I figured someone else could put it to better use. I left them there, surrounded by their PowerPoints and shattered assumptions, while their phones exploded with messages from friends and colleagues about their suddenly famous family member. The want ads lay forgotten on the table, next to Dad's now irrelevant presentation about responsible career choices. This was just the beginning. They had no idea what was coming next. The morning after the Wall Street Journal reveal was pure chaos. My real office, a 3-story penthouse command center with panoramic city views, buzzed with activity. Screens displayed real-time data from our quantum facilities worldwide, while my executive team managed the flood of incoming calls, partnership offers, and media requests. "The president wants a private briefing," Marcus reported, handing me my 4th espresso of the day. "Pentagon sending a delegation, and NASA's director is literally begging for an accelerated timeline on Project Helios." I nodded, scanning global market reactions on the central display. "And the family situation?" "Interesting developments there." He pulled up a holographic display. "One of our proprietary technologies. Your father's company, Anderson Global, has lost 12% of its market value since yesterday. Investors are questioning why they missed partnering with Quantum Solutions when they had the chance." That made me smile. 2 years ago, I'd presented Dad with a detailed proposal for modernizing Anderson Global's outdated infrastructure. He dismissed it as unproven technology and suggested I learn the basics of business first. My phone lit up with Kate's face, the 15th call since breakfast. "This time," I answered. "The country club is in absolute chaos," she blurted. "Mrs. Worthington, you remember, the one who told Mom you were wasting your potential at last year's charity gala? She's having a meltdown. Apparently, her husband's investment firm passed on Quantum Solutions' first funding round." "How unfortunate for them," I replied, watching our stock price climb another 3%. "And Mom, God, Mom is simultaneously thrilled and furious. She's already redecorated the family room to display every magazine with your face on it, but she's also crying about missing all the important moments." I glanced at the Time magazine cover proofs my PR team had just sent over. "The Quantum Queen: How Alexandra Anderson Revolutionized Technology." The photo shoot had been last month. I'd told my family I was at a job fair. "Speaking of important moments," I said, "you might want to warn Dad about tomorrow's Financial Times article." They did a deep dive into how Anderson Global rejected our partnership offer. The headline isn't flattering. Kate went quiet. "How bad?" "Legacy CEO's billion-dollar blunder. The partnership that could have saved Anderson Global." Jesus, Alex. Dad's going toe. "Learn a valuable lesson about underestimating people." Yes, I expect he will. After hanging up, I turned to Marcus. "How's Operation Legacy progressing?" He grinned, pulling up encrypted files. "Right on schedule. Through our shell companies, we now control 28% of Anderson Global's shares. Another 15% is lined up for acquisition next week. Make it 20%. I stood straightening my actual wardrobe, a hand-tailored Armani suit that cost more than my fake apartment's annual rent. Time to accelerate the timeline. The next few hours were a blur of strategic moves. The White House briefing was scheduled. The NASA contracts were expanded. 3 more quantum computing breakthroughs were announced. Our stock jumped another 8%. Then came the call I'd been waiting for. "Dad." "Alexandra." His voice strained. "The board is meeting tomorrow. Our major investors are concerned about our technological capabilities, about our future." "How concerned?" "Enough to suggest new leadership might be needed." I let the silence stretch, remembering all the times he'd lectured me about real business leadership at family dinners. I may have a solution, I finally said. Quantum Solutions could consider a strategic investment under certain conditions. Conditions? Full management overhaul, complete technological integration, and a new board structure. More silence. Then, you planned this, didn't you? All of it? Dad, you taught me to think strategically, to identify weaknesses in the market, to seize opportunities. I watched our latest quantum processor test results stream across my screens. I just applied those lessons more effectively than you expected. The board meets at 10 a.m. I know. I'll be there. Oh, and Dad? Wear your best suit. CNBC will be covering it. After hanging up, I turned to find Marcus with fresh intelligence. Your mother's called every society columnist in town trying to explain why she never mentioned her daughter's little technology company before. Peter's wife is suddenly updating her LinkedIn to highlight her connection to you. And that cousin who mocked your hobby at Easter. He's sent 17 job applications to our HR department. I smiled, adjusting my quantum-powered watch, worth more than their combined annual incomes. Schedule a family dinner for next week. My treat. The Michelin-starred place they could never get into. No, the one I bought last month. And Marcus? Make sure the private dining room displays our latest holographic technology. It's time they understood exactly what they've been dismissing as my little startup. The sun was setting over the city as I reviewed the final details for tomorrow's board meeting. On my screens, quantum computations that would revolutionize everything from space travel to artificial intelligence processed in real time. The technology they called unrealistic was already changing the world. My phone buzzed with a message from our lunar facility. Project Helios was ahead of schedule. Another from our quantum encryption team, breakthrough in teleportation theory, and a third from our AI division. Consciousness transfer protocols were ready for testing. Marcus, I called as he headed out. One more thing. That list of companies that rejected our partnership offers over the past 2 years. Yes? Buy them. All of them. He raised an eyebrow. That's 27 companies across 6 continents. 28 actually. Anderson Global just made the list. I turned back to the city view, watching lights flicker on across the empire I'd built while they thought I was finding myself. It's time to show them what real business leadership looks like. The quantum processors hummed softly in the background, calculating futures they couldn't begin to imagine. Tomorrow's board meeting wouldn't just change Anderson Global, it would reshape the entire industry. And I was just getting started. The morning of the Anderson Global board meeting arrived with perfect dramatic timing. Rain lashed against the windows of my quantum-powered Maybach as we pulled up to the corporate headquarters, the same building where 2 years ago, security had directed me to visitor parking for my failed partnership pitch. Ms. Anderson, the guard stammered now, practically tripping over himself to open my door. We've been expecting you. Have you? I handed him a tablet. Here's your new security protocols. My quantum AI detected 17 vulnerabilities in your current system. Fix them. The lobby was chaos. CNBC had set up multiple camera positions. Bloomberg reporters huddled near the elevators. The stock ticker above reception showed Anderson Global shares continuing their downward spiral while Quantum Solutions soared. My heels clicked against marble as I crossed the executive elevator. The same one Dad had once told me was for serious business leaders only. The same elevator where he'd suggested I learn the basics before trying to revolutionize anything. Kate intercepted me at the 50th floor. Her channel suit couldn't hide her anxiety. "Alex, please, can we talk? The family's in crisis. Mom's been crying all night, and Dad is about to learn the difference between legacy and innovation." I checked my quantum watch. Worth more than her house. "The board meets in 15 minutes. I suggest you prepare yourself." Prepare? For what? The future. The executive floor hummed with nervous energy. Board members huddled in corners, whispering urgently. Dad's longtime allies avoided eye contact. Peter stood by the coffee machine, frantically refreshing stock quotes on his phone. Mom appeared, perfect as always except for the worry lines around her eyes. "Darling, whatever you're planning is already done." I nodded to Marcus, who'd materialized with our legal team. The paperwork was filed at dawn. The boardroom fell silent as I entered. 20 pairs of eyes watched me take my seat. Not in the visitor's chair where I'd pitched my unrealistic ideas 2 years ago, but at the head of the table, Dad's chair. "This meeting will come to order," the board chairman announced, voice trembling slightly. "We're here to discuss the survival of Anderson Global," I interrupted, opening my quantum laptop. The room's screens came alive with my presentation. Though survival might be optimistic at this point, I stood, commanding the room just as Dad had taught me, though never expecting I'd use these lessons against him. In the past week, Anderson Global's stock has dropped 37%. Market confidence is non-existent. Your technology is obsolete, your market share is evaporating, and your competitors are evolving while you stagnate. Dad's face darkened. "Now see here. Your attempts at digital transformation have failed. Your AI initiatives are years behind schedule. And your cybersecurity." I clicked to the next slide, showing a real-time visualization of their vulnerabilities. "Well, let's just say it's fortunate that Quantum Solutions discovered these weaknesses before someone less friendly did." The board members shifted uncomfortably. They'd seen the numbers. They knew the truth. "However," I continued, "there is a solution. Quantum Solutions is prepared to offer a complete technological overhaul. Our quantum computing platforms, our AI systems, our revolutionary encryption technology, all of it. We'll modernize every aspect of Anderson Global's operations." Hope flickered across several faces. Then I delivered the knockout blow. As of this morning, Quantum Solutions owns 53% of Anderson Global's shares. This isn't an offer, it's a notification. The merger paperwork has been filed. The press release goes out in 3 minutes. The room exploded. Dad slumped in his chair. Mom gasped. Peter dropped his phone. "You can't do this." One board member shouted. "This is business," I corrected. "Something this family taught me very well. The shareholders will be pleased. Our stock is up 15% in pre-market trading just on merger rumors." I clicked to the final slide. The restructuring begins immediately. New board, new management, new direction. I turned to my father. "You always said Anderson Global would be my inheritance someday. I just decided not to wait." The next hour was a blur of signatures, legal documents, and shell-shocked expressions. By noon, I was CEO of both Quantum Solutions and Anderson Global. The empire I'd built had just absorbed the one that had rejected me. As the board members filed out, I finally turned to my family. "Now about dinner tonight." "Dinner?" Kate looked dazed. "How can you think about dinner?" "Because I own the restaurant, and the building it's in, and most of this block, actually." I smiled. I thought it would be a good place to discuss the future of our family enterprises. All of them. Mom stepped forward. Alexandra, why didn't you tell us? All this secrecy, this elaborate plan. Would you have listened? 2 years ago, I tried to tell you about quantum computing's potential, about the future of technology. You all laughed, called it my hobby. Well, my little hobby just reshaped the entire industry. I gathered my things, ready to head to my first press conference as CEO of the merged companies. Dinner's at 8. Don't be late. And dress appropriately. Forbes wants family photos for next month's cover story. As I walked out, Dad called after me. When did you become so ruthless? I turned back one last time. I learned from the best, Dad. You taught me that business is business. I just played the game better than you expected. The elevator doors closed on their stunned faces. My phone buzzed. Both companies' stocks were soaring. Marcus appeared with my schedule. The family dinner tonight, he said. Should I arrange security? No need, I smiled. Just make sure the photographers get my good side. After all, this is what a modern empire looks like. The sun was setting over the city as my car pulled away from Anderson Tower, my tower now. In the rearview mirror, I could see my family standing at the window, watching me leave. But this time, I wasn't driving away in a borrowed Honda. This time, I was driving toward the future I'd built in a car that cost more than their annual bonuses combined. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's succeeding so spectacularly that those who doubted you have no choice but to acknowledge your victory. And as for that career intervention they'd planned, well, some interventions have unexpected outcomes.